Hello, I'm Tap G.
And I'm Surfer Clock.
And welcome to What's the Attraction?
Where our work is your vacation. Oh, hey, look, it's Dumbo again with another message.
When are you guys going to visit SeaWorld Orlando? You promised, blah, blah, blah. You haven't kept your word. Get your lazy butts, blah, blah. Viva Shamu. Great. Just put it with the others. Sorry I have to keep showing up here, little guy. Help yourself to the peanuts in the lobby.
How many SeaWorld requests does that make now?
349.
And how many more before this elephant in the room joke stops being funny?
221 messages ago.
What's taking us so long to get there anyway?
My restraining order.
Your what?
In 1997, I may have jumped into the dolphin tank and tried to go swimming with the dolphins.
But you were what, 11 at the time? Why a restraining order?
I brought some sparklers for a showy finish. Oh, and 4 Roman candles. Yep.
So, want to review Wild Arctic?
I thought you'd never ask.
Now, SeaWorld has been less about entertainment than it has been about education on marine biology. But that's not to say entertainment has no place at SeaWorld. Their mission is to educate us through entertainment.
Meaning they want us to say at every show and ride, "Oh my goodness, aren't those cutesy-wootsy dolphins so talented, the way they jump and flip, and jump and flip and aren't they cute?"
They sure are. They're so precious and adorable. I want to learn all about them so I can protect them for future generations.
Hey, did you know dolphins sleep with only one eye open?
Shut up, man. They got dolphins flipping and jumping.
Okay, as satirical as we make it sound, essentially that's what SeaWorld hopes to do. And one of the best attempts to combine their concern for the Arctic environment and create a legitimately fun ride is Wild Arctic.
This ride opened in 1992, replacing the Mission Bermuda Triangle attraction. Today, Wild Arctic is a motion simulator to one of the most inhospitable regions on the planet, the Arctic Circle. When you enter the building, passengers get 2 choices. They can ride in the helicopter White Thunder, the motion simulation portion, or to travel by land, or partake in the non-motion theater for those with motion sickness and those in wheelchairs and scooters who are unable to transfer.
For those who opt for the simulator, there's a few safety instructions by White Thunder's co-pilot Norm Snowman Miller. He tells you co-pilot Captain Emerson will be flying the aircraft as well as providing the ensuing narration. Before long, you board your White Thunder simulator, buckle in, and prepare to fly.
At first, the trip is relaxing. You fly over a dog sledder, a herd of caribou, a polar bear mother and her cubs, and even dive underwater to drop in on some narwhals. But when White Thunder surfaces, there's troubling news.
What? That a helicopter jet that can also turn to a submarine is still decades worth of technology away?
Hey, if Boston can have a car that can turn into a boat, I'm sure anything is possible.
Touché.
No. The troubling news is that a storm front is closing in fast and there's almost no time to get back to Base Station Wild Arctic. There's a lot of treacherous earth and sky to cover to get back to safety. Ice flows, crumbling icebergs, rock slides, and turbulent winds make for a hair-raising flight back to safety. When the ride comes to a stop, you can breathe easy, but the attraction is far from over.
Sure, you've had some stock footage glimpse of some of the Arctic creatures on the ride, but now it's time to see the real things. While walking the halls of the Franklin Research Center, you can check out the exhibits featuring polar bears, beluga whales, and walruses. These animals capture the imagination, not with just their adaptability to such a frigid climate, but just what they do and what they are, like the confident swagger of the polar bear, the graceful ease of the beluga, and even the massive girth of the North Atlantic walrus.
The base station is made to look like a snowed-in scientist outpost. Each of the animals' exhibits have both surface and underwater viewing for optimal photo opportunities. This research base / animal exhibit / exit also has several interactive elements for kids to learn more about the Arctic and its inhabitants. There's even a polar bear cave for kids to crawl through.
And by far, that is the best portion of the entire attraction.
The highlight of the ride, to be sure.
Though, let's talk about the motion simulator first.
Sure.
What did you think?
I feel like the premise is kind of... now, this ride did open in 1992, so, I mean, they were, gotta give them some credit. They managed to give it a decent storyline. It's a little...
What little there is.
Yeah. I mean, you're basically going to the Arctic. Normally, if you're traveling, there's not much of a story to your travels. It's more in that case, it's kind of more about the destination. But here they try to make it a little bit about the journey.
You fly over the landscape, you see a few animals. Uh-oh, storm's coming in. Oh no, we're running into trouble. Hey, we made it back. That's essentially the story.
Yeah.
It's very generic.
It's kind of very theme park tropey. Uh-oh, something went wrong.
Yeah, if you ever want to pass the time, just count how many attractions at Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, etc. go with the storyline where, quote, something goes wrong.
You're gonna find a lot of them.
Yeah, it will not be a short list.
But considering it did open in 1992, and it's 2013 now,
and it's SeaWorld, not Disney.
Yeah, it's 21 years old, but I think the visuals still hold up pretty well.
I think there's one moment where where you're sitting on the iceberg and the ice starts to crack under you. It looks a little fake CGI-ish, but if it opened in 92, I'm not going to hold much against it.
Certainly not. But as we all know, the payoff is the wildlife.
Absolutely.
By far. And this is really what sets SeaWorld apart from... It's what really distinguishes it from the others in the big three. Other than, say, maybe Disney's Animal Kingdom.
But ultimately, I have to say, the ride itself is just okay. Just okay.
Yeah, it's very average.
It could use better transitions, though. I want to see more Arctic wilderness, because if I could see more of the Arctic itself, that would just be amazing. But since its focus is mostly on the animals, it just kind of rushes on by. It's like, here's some mountains, transition to sky, wow, there's a dog sledder. Transition through a fog, there's a herd of caribou. Dive underwater, wow, there's the two narwhals. It goes by so fast, and I think it just could be a little smoother. Granted, it would be longer, but I don't know.
I think at SeaWorld, you kind of value sort of the slower experiences. You're going to take your time, and you're going to, take an extensive look at the wildlife that's there.
Mm-hmm.
So why not make the rides a little more casual, a little slower? You raise a good point there. We can appreciate what the environment is like.
And the whole point of SeaWorld is to, in fact, slow down and appreciate what's around you. There can still be the rough moments, like going through the avalanches.
Yeah.
But that can only take up a small portion of the time, and it would still be fine. If it was all the way like that, then I'd understand why it's so short.
Yeah.
But like we said, the exhibits at the exit are by far the best part. There is just something so fascinating about watching polar bears and walruses and these beluga whales.
Certainly.
And just admiring just how massive and how peaceful these animals look. Especially now, since polar bears are facing possible extinction.
Yeah, you have a greater sort of appreciation, and definitely a want to help save them.
Ultimately, Wild Arctic is a decent concept. It feels a bit rushed, like it's trying to be Disney. And I'm not even going to get into Norm Snowman Miller trying to be the funny Disney pre-show co-host or better duck in, or you'll sport a flat top look. Behave. Don't make me come back there. It's like, dude, just stop.
Acting classes, please.
But because I have such a respect for the animals at the exit, I want to give it a 3 out of 5.
And my personal recommendation, if you haven't experienced this attraction before, do the full experience at least once, so long as you meet all the requirements, which we'll talk about in a moment. Experience that at least once, but if you're like an annual pass holder, or you've seen it before, I would say do the travel by land, maybe even see if you can skip over this part, because you're really there to look at the wildlife.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 out of 5 myself. So that's a 3 out of 5 from Surfer Clock and a 3 out of 5 from Tap G.
Yep.
Now, to experience the motion simulation part of Wild Arctic, it does have a height requirement of 42 inches or 107 centimeters. And those in wheelchairs must transfer. However, children who do not meet the height requirement and non-transferable guests can opt for the non-motion simulation or the travel by land. Both the simulator and the theater are closed captioned.
And don't forget, during the holidays, this attraction gets a special overlay themed to the Polar Express movie.
Yes, the Polar, I believe it's the Polar Express experience?
Something like that.
Yeah, so far they seem to have done it every year for Christmas. It'll probably happen again this year.
Yep. So who would enjoy Wild Arctic experience the most? I'd say anyone who wants to experience the Wild Arctic without paying exorbitant travel costs or being cold.
Well, not exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of theming to a snowed-in Arctic research station, but it's best for guests who want a few mild thrills in their trip to SeaWorld. Not as many thrills as, say, Manta or Kraken, but some thrills. And the animal exhibits are always a crowd pleaser, especially for those into marine biology. But then again, that's why you're at SeaWorld to begin with, right?
I'd say kids and preteens, teens maybe. It's kind of rough in some parts, but it's not bad.
Thanks again for listening. Dumbo, back so soon?
We just finished the SeaWorld podcast. Is that another request?
When are you guys going to review the Holy Land experience?
Dudes, do Legoland already.
Are you guys going to do an RIP for 20,000 Leagues or what?
You guys haven't done anything in Harry Potter World. What's the deal?
Tapford!
I heard my name.
Would you stop writing in this elephant in the room joke to remind us of what we haven't done yet? We're only 41 episodes in.
You can't blame me for speaking on behalf of your audience. No, we just blame you for wearing out a joke. You want to write the scripts?
This coming from the guy we fired 4 times?
And we haven't paid since last August?
Why do you stick around anyway?
You want to know why? I agree with your philosophy. I agree that we should educate the public about all the parks have to offer. I've seen too many people waste time and get hurt because they don't have the tools. So I wrote the podcast episodes to help everyone out there.
Wow, that's pretty noble.
You and your brother, Phineas? Yup.
Okay, consider yourself rehired. Times 4. Just no more cheesy jokes, okay?
As if. I'm planning whole episodes around the whole elephant in the room gag when you blokes get to Dumbo. Thanks for rehiring me. Don't we still have Ben Affleck on retainer?
Nope, he left for Argo. Thanks again for listening to What's the Attraction. I'm Surfer Clock.
And I'm wishing for a better writer.
And thanks for listening to What's the Attraction,
where our work is your vacation. And stick around, because we have more SeaWorld attractions coming.